Pirates of the Caribbean, is it anti-British propaganda? Because in the first film, the British Empire is depicted as heroic in the figure of Norrington, idiotic in everyone else. In the second and third, it's with dripping contempt and a force of disenchantment of the natural order of the seas.
I think that it's similar to Breaking Bad in a way, in that you take the perspective of the bad guys. The pirates aren't good, and the scene where the British Empire is hanging the pirates en masse is a satisfying scene to me. It's great.
So you sound very Reddit.
Where they suspend habeas corpus.
Well, I think it's difficult to say that it's anti-British in general, given that other than the Jamaicans, everybody in the film is British.
Empire. British Empire.
Well, anti-British Empire. So you could say it could be said to be showing different aspects of the British character, where somebody like Beckett is the kind of autistic, trying to bring order where it's not entirely necessary, or at least trying to disenchant the world in a way that takes the magic out of it, as you see through the death of things like the Kraken, through you see by this idea of filling in the corners of the map. You were right, Davey.
Don't mention him, please.
Still a sore spot, all right.
I'm sorry, Davey. I'm sorry.
Calamari.
But then you do get people like Jack, who represents the more adventurous, the more kind of like commanding spirit of the Anglo. So it could represent different aspects of our character.
You wouldn't go to Somalia and say, you know what, I'm so enchanted with this place.
You would find pirates, though.
I know, yeah.
Not these pirates, though.
No.
Yeah, I feel like piracy, the Kraken, this idea that they were doing it for freedom, it's all nonsense. They're doing it because they're scumbags and thieves.
Well, at least even back then, as shown in the film, they still have a sort of element of respect for the rules about them, hence with the pirate code. I know it's guidelines, but still, when they do the parlay
so quick on that.
They still actually adhere to parlay up to the point where it suddenly becomes inconvenient for them. But there's a sense of respect for one another and propriety and civilization, even on the uncivilized seas.
But I think that's more just a matter of self-preservation than an actual belief in the higher
Jack
ideals.
Right when they catch him in the first one. But he says parlay and they give him parlay anyway.
But I feel like it's a pretense for their own interests rather than an actual belief in a higher code.
Exactly. Right. So I'm going back to English for a sec.
Thought you were Scottish.
No,
the reason my mate
don't encourage him.
The reason my mate Davey's calling it neoliberal is because it sets up this binary.
It's gone fucking schizo.
The whole film sets up this binary of good and evil, right? So
as many films do.
Many films do. But the problem is, there's not really any good and evil. Like what is deemed as good and what is deemed as evil is based on the state, i.e., the British Empire, right? And Lord Beckett is representative of that. You know, if you know anything about piracy, you know it was basically like carte blanche for a lot of its history until eventually the king was like, actually, this is getting a bit out of hand now. We're gonna hang and kill everyone who deals in this, unless you have the bit of paper that says you're allowed to do privateering. So really, like, there's no difference between like Jack Sparrow and Davy Jones. They're just two sides of the same coin, really.
I feel like you could elaborate on that point a lot more. There was a lot.
I forgot what we were originally talking about, to be honest.
Well, so
I feel there was a lack of explanation.
The interesting point about the first one being different from the second and third is also encapsulated in this, let's say, very Reddit post, because on the side it says r/atheism and r/anti-work as well. So they're suggested. But
no, this is just recent.
Yeah.
So it's whoever has been on this has been browsing anti-work and atheism. Samson.
There you go. The British and Pirates of the Caribbean are the good guys. Think about it. Pirates are thieves and murderers who make their living by robbing honest sailors. They also live debauched and immoral lives. The British are simply trying to protect innocent sailors from men and women who would kill them for a few coins. Cutler Beckett's motives for wanting to destroy piracy are valid, if not laudable. I'll get to that in a moment. He's trying to protect his company's trade, and by extension his employees, from the wanton thievery and murder of piracy. The movie doesn't show the characters engaging in actual piracy, but it must be assumed that they did. I mean, look at the first movie. Barbossa and his crew are fully willing to bombard a town for a single piece of gold, and even though Jack portrays himself as a bumbling fool, he presumably robs and kills traders. traders, as do the rest of them. So how can the British be bad for wanting to stop this?
This is
Sorry.
reinforced.
To be fair,
Can
you
I-
can
can I-
say that this is Reddit because it's posted on Reddit, but he's making some fair arguments.
He's not making
Thank
some
you,
fair
Harry.
arguments, though. This
Thank
is the
you.
problem.
Can I just? I remember what I was going to say now. Sorry, but so the movie sets up this binary between good and evil, between Jack Sparrow and David Jones, essentially, right? And to a lesser
I
extent,
wouldn't say
the
that
Empire.
they're a binary because there's a lot of shades of grey there.
There's a lot of
Okay.
pathos for Davy Jones and a lot of arrogance about Jack Sparrow, but they end up
Yeah.
flipping.
But
No.
what you
No, you're
got?
fine.
You got to remember the root word of piracy is the Greek verb parao, which means to gain experience. Do you know that?
Right. Okay.
All right.
Which is interesting.
Is this
I think.
going somewhere?
So
Oh,
okay.
just
So
telling
so the pirates are the only ones that learn from the narrative arc.
Yeah, yeah,
Understood.
yeah.
But Davy Jones
Good
isn't a
point.
pirate.
But
No, he's an asset of a heathen god. He's not actually a pirate.
he sort of fulfills the archetype of a pirate, even though he in his actions he doesn't behave like one. He's still recognizable. He still sails the black flag. He still has a crew of unwashed
He's
misfits.
he's representative of corruption, isn't he?
But he doesn't murder. Well, he does murder, but he doesn't pillage. Like he's not doing it for
But
mercantile
he's
reasons.
still he's representative of corruption. The fact he's got a mutilated body.
Yeah, sure, but none of the pirates. So other than Barbossa, and Barbossa's evil because he has previously betrayed the code of other pirates by sending Bootstrap to the depths and trying to get rid of Jack Sparrow. All of the other pirates are actually personally admirable people because Jack Sparrow learns to
Some of them are
overcome
good
his
people, I
arrogance.
presume.
So what's Will Turner's motivation? To free his dad and to marry Elizabeth.
Poontang. Sorry.
What's Elizabeth?
It's been a driving motivation through all of history.
The tight corset.
Yeah.
Elizabeth's motivation is to free Port Royal and her dad, and to marry Will. Like none of all of the pirates in Jack's crew are remarkably admirable because they go to the vigil for him at Tia Dalma's place, and they all of their own accord stand up and say, "We'll sail to the ends of the earth just to bring Jack back." The only person that's bringing Jack back for instrumental reasons is Barbossa because he wants to free Calypso because he's indebted to her because he just resurrected her. So all the pirates are actually good people.
Well, all of the pirates on Jack's ship are
Yes.
good people. All the rest of the brethren don't
Yeah,
seem
the
to
rest-
be.
They're just racial stereotypes.
Yeah. That's
So,
sorry. Actually,
it-
no. Can I expand on that? That was another thing. Just watching these films again, fresh the other day, was just how, especially with like Dead Man's Chest, where they go to the island with the Pelagostus people, and
bone
it's
through the nose,
just
yeah.
unapologetically caricatures.
Yeah, every single person on
Unapologetically
the
racist.
And it's like
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Disney just would not make something like that today. But it's so witty, it's so funny, and that's actually a sizable portion of the film that they're dedicated to that. And so it was just one of those things as well that I felt the time warp
We
of
want to talk.
older Disney, and what they used to make.
You've just reminded me of something, which is we already mentioned how Jack Sparrow seemingly has superhuman strength to be able to hold that boat over his head. Do you remember that part in that scene?
Oh, yeah.
Where he falls off of a cliff
Yes,
through all of the bridges,
all the bridges.
presumably like a couple of 100 feet, and then just
No, but before that,
he hurt. Oh yeah, and
On the
before that,
vault.
he launches himself with a pole vault.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he hits the ground at great velocity. Fine.
Yep.
Fine.
And narrowly dodges being spiked by the.
With enough rum, miracles can happen. And I
That's
can
just what it was
attest to
like
that.
back in the day, man. It's just what it's like.
People were just hardier back in the day.
Right.
This is
Wait,
why we call them snowflakes.
have you ever
these
got
days.
really
Gen
drunk
Z
and
couldn't
got into-
fall a few hundred feet. to survive.
Romanticism
Ren
didn't come from
would've
nowhere.
If you
Yeah,
get
Ren
drunk,
would've-
if you get drunk and have an accident because your body's
with
so
enough
limber,
rum and raw eggs, anything.
It's genuinely a true thing where if you get really drunk, you actually fall better. If you know what I mean. And it's harder to hurt yourself.
From experience.
No.
Yes.
I've seen this happen.
It is true.
I've seen that happen.
My dad is Paul out in London about
It's back.
Actually, yeah.
What?
300 years ago. And his
Davey,
his pal fell down one of those bloody in front of Georgian houses where they got their slaves quarters underneath or whatever you want to
The
call it.
servants' quarters.
The basement.
Yeah, yeah.
He fell down there.
Basement flat for
And
the help.
the doctor surgeons said at the time, fuck, if you if you weren't drunk, you would have died basically.
Wow.
Back to Scottish.
If
If you would like to see the full version of this premium video, please head over to lotuseaters.com and subscribe to gain full access to all of our premium content.